with the guys. And so from a coaching staff standpoint, we're a little behind from a game planning perspective, and we're kind of getting caught up on that throughout the day today, and then we'll reconvene with the guys tomorrow and have a pretty heavy practice, just putting all the final game plans in that we would typically do on Tuesday, we'll do on Wednesday now. So an interesting week as far as how we have to handle it, but I know the guys are handling it well.
Start with Kellis.
Hey, Chris, I know Oklahoma State was a tough team when you played them last season, but do you feel like they're more complete or an improved group this season?
Well, they're a good football team this year for sure. We've watched cut-ups of last year, and they handled us relatively easily at their place last year. And they're a really experienced defense that flies around, very aggressive. They don't miss tackles. They're going to blitz you, going to put constant pressure on you. And then offensively, we have our hands full because they can beat you at every level. In the fact of the quarterback can beat you with his arm or his feet. Two great running backs. One everybody knows about, but they have two very talented running backs. And then, wide receiver. I think they have one of the best wide receivers in the country in Wallace. And so we have our hands full trying to come up with a great plan to be able to. You can't stop them, just try to slow them down.
Looking back at the West Virginia game, it seemed like they had pretty good success targeting the middle of the field against your defense. Did you feel that way, and maybe what would you attribute to their success?
They had success kind of in whatever ways they wanted to be honest with you, Kellis. We didn't play very well, and give those guys credit. They were able to run the football. Whenever you're able to run the football, it opens things up in the middle because your linebackers are coming downhill a little bit more, and then the play action can get you behind. And we, one play in particular, we get caught in a pressure and kind of dropped coverage, and they got a 58-yard play, and that was just more of a bust than it was anything else. But we need to play better on in all phases.
I also want to ask if you had an update on A.J. Parker or Briley Moore. Would you expect them to play this week?
AJ practiced limited yesterday, so that was good to see him out there. Briley, we didn't practice yesterday, but doing all this treatment and stuff, and I know he's starting to feel a little bit better, so hopefully we'll have more of an idea on Wednesday or Thursday with both those guys.
All right, thanks, Chris. Appreciate it.
You bet.
John?
Yeah, Chris, after having some time to reflect on some of the issues on Saturday, is it easy to chalk that game up as, hey, that just wasn't our day, or is that more indicative of like some bigger picture problems going on that you guys have?
Good question. I don't know. We'll find out how we respond when when adversity strikes. You're going to find out the character and resolve of your guys, and you've got to attack the adversity. And we didn't play well. It was on the road and got behind and had a hard time digging ourselves out of it. All that being said, in the second quarter, we had our opportunities. We could have been in a competitive game or even potentially ahead, and instead they made the plays and we didn't. And so you have to evaluate that and make sure that you make your corrections, but you can't just sit and dwell on it because you need to move on. And in this league, everybody has ability to run points up on the board, and everybody has ability to play good enough defense and stop you. And so we just need to learn from it and get better and move forward.
I was going to ask about Deuce too. I know it was really the first game where he's been shut down like that this year. Was he totally himself or totally healthy in the game?
I thought he was healthy. Yeah, he was fine. He didn't practice a bunch last week because of an issue, but he was healthy for the game. And once again, as talented as that young man is, you have to find ways to take him away. And West Virginia did that. And we thought we had some creative ways to get him the football, but we couldn't have time to throw it or whatever else may have happened. And so once again, give West Virginia the credit that they deserve.
Appreciate it, Chris. Thanks.
Yeah.
David?
Yeah, Chris, I know you talked about the balance that Oklahoma State has, but I'm guessing with 296 yards last year, Chuba Hubbard has to be a focus. Can you just talk about slowing him down a little bit? Yeah.
We gave up the explosive play on via the run last year, and we cannot do that to be successful. We have to limit those explosive plays. We need to tackle better. We need to fit things better. We didn't fit things very well in the run game last year. And obviously that's been a point of emphasis and will be continuing on throughout the week. But we have to make sure that he doesn't have a huge day, or everything opens up. If he has a huge day, then we're stacking the box with more and more guys, and then creates all sorts of other issues. So we have to come up with a great game plan, and that's kind of what today is. We were able to piece together a few things yesterday, but today, from a coaching staff standpoint, we need to go through all the tape to see what gives us the best chance to be successful.
Thanks, Coach.
You bet.
Robert?
Yeah, Coach. I wanted to ask the need on defense. I love disruptive defensive players. When you watch the tape, Wyatt Hubert stands out. Inside technique, Drew Wiley stands out. And I've been very impressed with watching the play of Justin Hughes. Those three guys, especially against an offense like Oklahoma State, have to come to play on Saturday and talk about their ability to mess up some teams' offenses.
Well, we feel one of the strengths of our team is our defensive line, and you're right. Wyatt Hubert and Drew Wiley have played really well for us. Khalid Duke's playing well. Bronson Massey, Eli Huggins. We're going to keep rotating guys in because we have to play really well up front to try to slow down Oklahoma State a little bit. And then we're playing a number of linebackers and defensive backs, and we have to continue that rotation because Oklahoma State wants to play 100 plays against you, and we need to make sure that we can stay fresh with our guys. And that's one thing that we have been able to do is rotate an awful lot of guys at all levels of the defense. And we're going to have to do the same thing because it's going to be a game where they're going to want to run up tempo and try to get a bunch of plays. And we need to make sure we have fresh athletes in there.
Your special teams have been so solid all season, and I think, they're coming off a game where special teams hurt them in a couple of ways. But when you look at the one matchup that to me intrigues me, your punt return averaging 23 yards a game or 23 yards a return, their punting unit, which is one of the tops in the Big 12, and Hutton he's not a big bang punter, but he seems to have the kind of kick that keeps people from being able to return. Talk about that matchup, your return unit and their punt unit.
Yeah, well, hopefully we can get them to punt a few times. That's the first thing. But you're 100% right. We have to do a great job at the line of scrimmage to get our punt return started. And that's what we always talk about is just getting it started. If we can get it started and not get it disrupted by guys going down quickly and forcing a fair catch and those things, Phillip's a pretty talented guy. And our guys understand leverages and using their tools in blocking players that Phillip reads those things really well. So for us to be successful, we need to be able to flip a field somewhere along the line, whether that's a punt return, a kick return, whatever it may be, so that we can get a shorter field for our offense.
Coach, thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
Kellis?
Chris, after at the end of that second drive where you got all the way down to the goal line, after they committed the penalty on the field goal, did you think at all about putting the offense back out there and going for it?
Yeah, we did. And you can easily say in hindsight, we should have gone for a touchdown there early in the game, trying to get points, as well as we just had 3 shots from the 2-yard line and didn't get in. And so I thought maybe from a rhythm, momentum standpoint, if we take another shot and don't get in there, maybe that would have even hurt our confidence more. Bottom line is we can't put ourselves in that position. We're second and goal at the 2 or first and goal at the 2, whatever it was, and we can't get in the end zone. We need to be able to score. And that's been kind of where we've been the last few weeks. And we had a couple of short fields against KU and didn't get touchdowns and had to settle for field goals. And the way that we're going to play and the way we need to play is to be able to convert those into touchdowns in the red zone. So whether it's that play or different plays in different games, we have to be more productive with touchdowns.
I also wanted to ask, you said several times you're not concerned about Will or his confidence. He's got that it factor. What's he like in practice when he makes a mistake? Does he bounce right back up? Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, he's good in that respect. I mean, obviously Coach Klein does a great job, and we go on to the next play and coach on the run and get him schooled up, and we move on to the next play. But, you have to have a short memory a little bit. You got to have it in the back of your mind. You can't make mistakes where you're turning the football over, but we still have to push the ball downfield. We still have to be able to run the correct routes so that he can get the ball out on time. We have to be able to protect so that he knows that he's going to have a cleaner pocket to throw the football. It was kind of a culmination of things, whether it was maybe an errant throw, to maybe a wrong route, to maybe a bust in protection, and all of a sudden hands and stuff are all over you, and then you end up sometimes getting a tip ball or something. And so, Will, you got to realize this kid's a true freshman that's playing high-level football, and he's learning on the run. And I just, more than anything, I like the way he handles things and like the way he handles himself, and he's leading our offense, whether it's a 55-14 win or a 37-10. That can't change because he has to be the catalyst that leads the offense.
Fitz?
Coach, what has Drew Wiley meant for your defense this year?
I think he's been the MVP of our defense so far this year. He plays a ton of snaps. He loves to play the game, and that's what's so much fun to watch is Drew loves to practice. He loves to compete, loves to go to the meetings, likes to go to the walkthrough, has a great time with the guys. He's disruptive. He's tough to block one-on-one. He's doing things in the run game, doing things in the pass game. And we starting to design a lot of things around him because he is such a playmaker. And so we knew he was going to be a good player this year. We were really confident in that. But he's been, I think, our most productive guy for 6 games, and so excited that in his senior season he's having this great a year.
What's it say about him that he came out of, the pandemic, having to work out at home or on his own, in better shape, ready to play, took giant steps forward in terms of conditioning and preparation?
Yeah, he just he's got that will and that desire to compete and be his best. And he was a part-time player, at least last year for us, the year that I had with him, because we had Mitty and Trey Deshawn in there, so he was a rotating guy. And I think he said, you know what, I'm going to be the guy. I'm going to be the Trey Deshawn or the Mitty that's going to be the playmaker. And he's a really competitive guy, and he works so hard at it, whether it's in the weight room or at practice. The kid doesn't take any plays off. And so for a younger player to watch Drew Wiley compete every day and compete on every play, I think it's a great thing for a young kid to say, man, model your game off of what Drew Wiley does.
How challenging is this Oklahoma State offense? You could try to take away the run, and even if you're successful, they've got a pretty darn good receiver running around.
Yeah, it's really challenging. That's why we have to do a great job with what we talk about of complementary football. We have to be able to stay on the field offensively and be able to churn out first downs, even if we're maybe not getting a scoring drive. We've got to be able to take 4 or 5 minutes off the clock and get some first downs so that limits some of their opportunities. If they're getting 100 plays, we're in trouble, and that's what they want to have. And so for us, we have to be able to slow down the rush. We know that. We can't just sit and cover 2 the whole game and let them run the football. But in the same respect, we have to pick and choose our chances when we're going to be aggressive, maybe run blitz, whatever it may be, because you've got some receivers on the edge that can make plays.
One final thing. I'm curious, did you sit in with Will Howard when he broke down the tape of the West Virginia game, and how did he take it, and what did he see?
I'm getting a chance to visit with him a little bit today. I wasn't in the meeting with Coach Klein. At other engagements, but he and I always get a chance during the week to visit, and today's one of those days we're going to get a chance.
Very good. Thank you, Coach.
You bet.
We got 3 hands raised. We'll do those last 3 here, starting with Adam.
Coach, other than the interceptions in the last drive in the first half, you needed a touchdown against West Virginia. Then Will Howard stepped up with that big drive and with that big touchdown pass. Just how promising would you say that drive was of Will?
Well, it was good because he made some tight throws into some tight windows, and we were able to move the ball down the field in a 2-minute setting. And then I think the one thing that impressed me the most is they took all the short routes away because time was running out, and we were able to get behind on a post. And he didn't just say, well, I just got to keep methodically moving us down the field. He took a shot on the post and made a great throw. Malik got behind the corner, and it was great to see for the momentum. We just needed to keep that momentum Our problem was they got the ball to start the second half, and it took 6 minutes off the clock and got a field goal, and we needed a quick stop to get the ball back to the offense so that we could maybe continue on with what we did, but we weren't able to do that.
Derek?
Yeah, Coach, you said so far Bradley Moore is not practicing this week, or so far he hasn't practiced, but is there anyone in that tight end room that's getting additional reps because of that?
They're just the same ones. Sammy and Nick will have taken the lion's share of it. Connor Fox will sprinkle in a little bit. Jax can play tight end or fullback. Barta. We have a number of guys there, but Bradley's a pretty special talent, and we knew he was probably going to be out Sunday, Monday. We were hoping to get him back potentially Tuesday. Obviously, Tuesday's off, so now we got to look and see where we're at on Wednesday. But I know that he is progressing.
In terms of the wide receivers, would you kind of pin their lack of as much production as you like to see on the circumstances of the season? Because there's been a lot of disruptions with that group between transfers and COVID, or is it just lack of performance so far?
I think it's a combination of everything, and the fact that we haven't sustained drives, and that's not the wide receiver's fault. That's not the quarterback's fault. That's sometimes the defense, because we can't get off the field. We just haven't had enough plays, I don't think. And you throw in the fact that we've had a running back that's been pretty dynamic, and when he's got the ball, some good things that have happened, and so we're going to get him the football. And we've had a tight end that's been really dynamic as well. And when you have the limited amount of plays that we've had, sometimes it doesn't go all around. And that's the thing that guys have to be unselfish and say, shoot, we're winning. We're 4-2, 4-1 in the Big 12. Let's be happy that we're getting the W's. The catches, the throws may come, but right now there's a couple guys that are making some big time plays, and we got to get them the football.
Last one here, Robert.
Yeah, Coach, I'm kind of on your side on this with Bradley Moore, and I hope he's able to play. And if he is, the need for him, he's not really a hidden target. Everybody knows who he is, but in trying to play complementary football, like you said, his value to that offense in playing complementary football and staying on the field in your estimation.
He moves the chains. He makes the tough catch. He can catch a ball on 3rd and 8 for 5 yards and get 9 and get a first down. He can block the edge at the point of attack. He does so many things. He can flex out. He can be a fullback in the backfield. 100%. He's a guy that makes our offense so much better because of his versatility.